Parashat Vigash. We read in this week's parasha about one of the most dramatic moments of Jewish history. After 22 years of being apart, Yaakov is reunited with the son that he thought was dead. The Torah captures that moment with the following verse. Vayesor Yosef mirkavto, vaya likrat Yisrael aviv goshna, vayera elav vayipal al tzavarav, vayefk al tzavarav od. Yosef disembarked from his donkey and he came towards his father, and he saw his father and he fell on his neck and he started to cry. He started to cry. Vayefk. He in the singular, not they. And the question is, why were they not both crying? Why was one crying and not the other? And Rashi explains, based on the Midrash, Yosef was crying because he saw his father. And Yaakov, the Midrash tells us, was reciting the Shema. Right now, at that critical moment that he'd been waiting for, that he dreamt would never happen, and Yaakov is saying Shema, is that the right thing to be doing now? If it's the time for saying Shema, then they both should be saying Shema. And if it's not the right time for Shema, then why is Yaakov saying the Shema? There are many answers to this question. Let me share one. The answer of the Shem Mishmuel, Rav Shmuel Bornstein of Sokachov. And he explains that Yaakov, as opposed to Yosef, is arriving in Egypt. Yosef had been in Egypt for many years, but for Yaakov, he has just left Eretz Israel and he is arriving in Egypt. He is entering a dark chapter of Jewish history. Much blood will be spilt, great pain and suffering will be endured by its children until hundreds of years in the future, Moshe will take his children out from that place, out from Egypt. Yaakov wants to set the pace. He wants to install hope and inspire his children to hold out. He realizes that his entering Egypt is the beginning of a very dark chapter. And he says, Shema Yisrael. He says, V'shinantam nevanecha. He says words that he hopes will give strength, not just to him, but to all of the Jewish people as they enter this next chapter of our history. He wants to enter Egypt with a prayer. There is an echo of this prayer that we recite every week at the end of Shabbat. As we begin to enter the new working week, we say, Havdalah. We depart the holiness of Shabbat and we pray for strength as we enter the challenges and tribulations of a new week. Life has many challenges. We know that life isn't easy. But we learn from the prayer of Yaakov Avinu, from the Shema in this week's parasha, and we learn from the Havdalah at the end of Shabbat, that if we start a challenging chapter, if we start it right, if we start it with a prayer, that can give us the strength to continue until the end. Shabbat Shalom U'Vorach.